Hi there, my name's Derek and I'm making this video because I wanted to change the locks on my euphonium case, which had got quite tatty and rusty, and I was looking on YouTube and I couldn't really find anything that would show me how to do it. So I decided that I was just going to go ahead and do it myself. And then I thought, after I had taken a couple off, I thought maybe someone else might find it helpful to find out how I did it, and it might make it easier for yourself. I know a lot of people say that their cases are not that great, that the locks aren't that great, and that the locks don't actually work. And mine was the case as well. I can show you what mine looked like. I'll just switch this over. You can see here, this is basically, I've already taken off a couple of them. So there's one up that end, there was a small clip in the middle, which was this one here, and this one was the same as this one, which was up at that end, which is probably the most similar to a lot. I use a Besson Sovereign euphonium, and this is a Besson case, but basically I'd imagine that the principle's the same on any instrument case, any musical case, whether it's brass or woodwind. And you can see that they get very dirty, very damaged, rusty, and basically the one I had at this end wasn't working at all. This one's still not bad because it still clips and opens, but this one wasn't doing it at all. It was just flapping about. And the one that was in the middle, this one was in here, that wasn't really working very well either. So basically I've taken two out already, but I've left this one because I thought it might be useful. The other reason I wanted to change them was that I don't have the key. I had bought this euphonium second hand, so I bought the key, and when I looked on some of the forums about finding a key for it, no one seemed to be able to either have a key or find a replacement key, so I decided to do something different. So what I've done is I just went on to eBay and I bought these, which are very shiny, and they're just classed as large case locks. So sorry about my nail, I had damaged my nail. So you just basically pull it like that. I preferred that design as opposed to this one, but you can still get this one from some of the music shops. I think they're about £5 or something, but I don't think you get, in fact I'm sure you don't get a key with it. So basically you would just replace it like for like. The reason I didn't want to replace it as well is if you look at the actual is it this one, mounting of how it goes in, you can see, if you can see that it's actually prongs that go into, that are pushed into these holes and then are curved out the way to hold them in. And I thought if I try to replace them again, it's possible that they might not, it'd be very difficult to curve them, because when you open up, I'll just take these off, put them in there, I don't really need them now. When you open up your case, obviously you've got the padding and everything inside, so you don't really see what's on the other side, and the same on that side. You've actually got the padding, so the good thing about that is you can put screws in instead and they won't actually be seen on the inside of your case. So that was another reason I wanted to change the style. I mean, you might want to keep it traditional and keep the same kind of locks, but as I say, I just wanted something different. Basically I just needed a few tools to take the old locks off. I'm just going to show you which ones I used. This was the tools that I actually just got them out my shed. Just a couple of old screwdrivers, a small hammer, and I just had this wee tool. It was just a prizing tool just to try and help. I wasn't sure if I would need it or not. So that was really all I used. And I just had a measuring tape, and I used the measuring tape to actually measure the size of the holes so that I knew which size of buckle would actually cover the same space. And the good thing about the new ones is they come with a key, so you can actually lock your case. So if you have to leave it somewhere unattended for a short time, at least you've got a bit of security with the fact that it's got a lock on it. So I'm going to try and show you how I took these off. Could be difficult because I'm holding my my iPad thing at the same time, but basically I might have to do it in stages to show you. But first thing I did was I opened up the case, and inside you've got the original lock here, and there's a space where the part at the top came down and joined in here. That one's a wee bit big, so I just grabbed a screwdriver and I put the screwdriver in here, pushed it right in, just trying to, and then I just started to wedge. You can see it moving already. Just started to wedge it out. Now obviously you've got the prongs, so you just got to take your time. You don't want to push too much against the case. I'm trying to do this while I'm looking through. Just gently work at each side, just twisting it slightly, then go back to the middle and gently prise it, then pull it back that way as well, and you'll see, hopefully you can see, you'll start to see the actual prongs coming out. I'm trying to keep this on so you can see it. Force it back that way gently. There you go, that's it starting to come out, and that's it. So one side's out, I'll put that down. One side's out, so you just gently pull the other side. You can see that one's left a bit still in there, but it's not really a big problem. So you can see that was the one that was better, and you can see even inside it was rusty. So that goes in there. Take this bit, turn the case round, and basically I'll do the same at the other side. Get this, and just going to bend this up and gently work the screwdriver down into it, and just gently twist, and then you'll see that's popped out. You might have a wee bit of a dent there, but you'll be covering that up anyway. Do the same at this side. Gently prise this. So there we go, so that's out. So you'll see there's a wee bit of damage on the leather and things, but it's not massive. It's obviously easier when you're not doing it holding an iPad in your hand, but again you can see the rust that builds up, and the reason it's going in the box. Just get a cloth and just wipe it. One thing I would say to you is, if you have any pets, be careful, because there's very small metal shards that come off and will probably end up on your carpet. So once you've done all this, it's definitely worth just giving your carpet a hoover. You don't want any wee bits of metal going into your pet's paws or anything like that. Just keep that clean. Looks a wee bit better. And then if you did have any bits of leather, I just used the wee hammer and just tapped. If I can do it while I'm holding both of these. Just tapped it down again, so they're nice and flat. Don't need to do a lot of it, just really to make sure the leather bits are back in. That looks better now. Let's give it another wee wipe. Okay, so that's all the locks off. So the main problem now is you've got nothing to keep the case closed, but you could put something around it if you want, just to keep it closed, like a bit of string or a bungee clip or something like that. That would keep it in one place. The tie from my dressing gown, so I'm just going to tie that round just to keep the case in place. Okay, so I have drilled the holes and I've just slightly screwed in the first ones, because obviously if you pull this up it's going to undo it all. Now the other thing about the lock that I've chosen is, if you try and screw these down with this piece down, they're obviously going to catch on the edges. So the best thing to do is put your screws in place and then take out the two top ones and basically unclip it, and then put the screws back in and tighten them up, which I'm going to do now. I have taken that bit away. Just make sure that it's nice and straight, and then tighten these two screws down. So that's the two screwed down, and then what I'll do next is I'll put this back in place, because these are now fixed down. Put that in place, I'll pull it tight, and I'll do these other two screws, and then once they two are done I'll undo that and do the bottom one, because that will mean that these four are tightly in place before I unclip it to put this last one in. Okay, so I've done these two now, but I haven't actually tightened them all the way up, because if you tighten them up it'll tend to pull the back up the way, and you don't really want that. You want to keep it flat while you're putting the screws in. So I've just left them slightly up, and I'm going to put the back one in. That is the other two screws and the back screw put in. Now, as I say, because they accidentally sent me 4 instead of 5 screws, I just had to use a screw that I had myself in the shed. And if you flip that over, just make sure that bit's down, then that's you got one lock in place. I've actually untied that. Alright, so I'll just do the same with the other one at this end, and then I'll do the small one in the middle. That's the one that we did at that side. And I've just wiped it, that's why it looks wet. I'm just taking any wee shavings off. So starts to look better now. And then all I'm going to do is put, you don't really need it, it's not necessary, but it just finishes it off, makes it look a wee bit better. I think the dog wants out. Anyway, I'll do this and then we can see how it looks. So with the last lock, unfortunately this one was just slightly smaller than the one that was already on the case, and the only other size was pretty big, and I didn't really think I needed anything that big, so it's just a case of deciding what side you think you would prefer to cover up, or if you want to keep it in the middle. I'll probably just cover it one side. So again, same idea, drill the 4 holes and then fix it in place. So there you go, that's the middle one in. As I said, I didn't actually get screws with it, so the screws I had were maybe just slightly a bit big, but I can always change them over. But that covers that. So that's how it looks with the new locks and lashes, and the dogs came to have a look as well. And as I said, the other good thing about changing them over is that the keys came with them, so I can turn that on and look what I'm doing. I can turn this one. Like that. Get the key out, and that's locked. Obviously you can still open this one because that's not locked, but that means your case is locked and no one can get into it. So there you go, that's it done. As I say, the locks were called large case locks, locking large case locks, which I got on eBay, and the middle one, I think there was lots of places selling them. You can get them in the brass finish, or you can get them in the chrome finish, but I just stuck with brass because that was the kind of shade that was on it already. So I hope you find that useful, and if you have any questions or anything, just put a message on and I'll try and answer it for you. Okay, thank you.